What's up, everybody? It's Luke James, not the singer. If you're looking to get your music reviewed, you can hit up this email that's right here. But today I'm going to hit you up with my thoughts and opinions on this new project from Skyzoo and Pete Rock called Retropolitan. Now, Skyzoo is a very well-respected MC who's coming out of Brooklyn. He's a top-quality lyricist, and you already know who Pete Rock is because he is one of the beat goats. He's been putting in work since the late 80s/early 90s, so just knowing that, you already know what you're in for with this project. This is not for the auto-crooners and trappers, not that there's anything wrong with that. If that's what you like, this is for the people who appreciate traditional hip-hop, that shit with great lyricism, quality storytelling, and drums that are really going to hit you in your chest to go along with some nice sample work. That is exactly what you're going to get here. So if you like what I said right there, I really think you're going to love this project, and it might be one of your favorite projects of the year, just like it is to me so far. Now, there's also a little bit of a concept here, sonically and conceptually, as you can tell by the title, because it's called Retropolitan. It's a bit of a nostalgic throwback vibe that's really showing love to where Skyzoo is from in New York. So you are going to pick up on some themes as you listen through this project. You are going to get bone-crushing boom-bap bangers as well, like Truck Jewels. I love the way the horns come in on this one because it gives a bit of a celebratory feel to it. And then on the song Homegrown, he's speaking on how important it is to show love to where you come from and also to continue to build there and give back. You're going to pick up on a lot of this stuff as you listen through. It really does seem like Skyzoo loves where he comes from and is wanting to show more of that love and just help people do better, guide them along the way while also sharing his own story. So I really appreciate that he did that with this album. Even on the opening track, Glorious, Skyzoo is reflecting on where he came from and how now he's in the coop with the same people he was on the block with. And he also spits, moved out of the sty and bought yard space, but still dressed like I'm outside ducking a car chase. Still a black fist in the air, quick as a heart rate. Nikes over Yeezys, Kaepernick over Kanye. So like I said, man, he's being very humble here, showing love to how he came up, telling his story. He's the same guy now, except he's older and wiser. So you're going to pick up on a lot of content as you listen through this project. If you just skim it, you might think he's just a guy who's just dropping some bars and trying to be clever, but there really are a lot of different things to pick up on, and that's something that I appreciate from Skyzoo, man. He's always known for dropping double entendres, triple entendres, having very clever lyricism, while also pointing out to something. You know, he's telling you a story or giving something to take with you. So even on the Audacity of Dope, he spits praise due to the corner stores that I'm still part of, and for me being able to come home to a real father. And he also says, well, I was drawing a line and shooting off from behind. The rims never had nets, but it would all be fine. The crib never saw it all, they was drawing the blinds. Picture all I described, and add a Lex 450 double parked outside. I thought these bars were really cool because he's showing his thankfulness for where he came from and how he came up, while also speaking on some of the things that he saw and experienced while he was coming up. I thought that was a pretty cool idea, and there is a bit of juxtaposition there as he's speaking on the basketball hoops not having nets, and yet you have these fancy cars that are parked out there. I thought that was a pretty cool idea, and I do get what he was saying with that. This is also a great beat with those soul samples and very heavy drums, and overall, I like pretty much every beat on this project. I think a lot of the drums hit very hard. That's something that I always like from Pete Rock's production. You're not getting these weak drums or ones that just sound like they're off of a cheap sound kit. They really will hit you in your chest, and the sample work is just masterful because, like I said, Pete Rock is one of the goats. Really, the only beat I didn't like on here was 10 Days. Thought it didn't really go anywhere, and it was just my least favorite beat overall, so that's why I would also put it as my least favorite track. But other than that, I don't have a lot of complaints with this one. One of my favorite cuts, though, has got to be One Time. It has that 90s summertime feel to it, as well as some great vocals from Raheem Devon, so just sonically, it's very smooth. And here he gets into how he took his life from the corner to the mini mansion, again, his come-up story. But the lines that stuck out the most to me on this song are when he speaks on his dealings with police. So he has a couple bars here where he says, one time we was being followed by 12, quoting ready to die, so we was probably 12. Boys pulled us over like we had product to sell. A week later, my man was popping with krills. He said if they're already assuming, I'm trying to deal. I just thought those bars were really poignant because it speaks on how that distrust for police in certain communities can be bred at a very young age, where they're out here just stopping and frisking people, bothering people even when they ain't doing shit. Thought that was a pretty cool idea. And then on It's All Good, he speaks on his more present dealings with police as an adult, because because when he was leaving Chinx's funeral, he was actually harassed by police just because of how he looked. They thought maybe he was a dealer because, you know, just the way that he was dressed, maybe some of his jewelry and stuff like that. So thought it was pretty interesting how we get these ideas throughout this project. So you are sort of seeing his growth and how even still he might have some of the same experiences now as he did when he was younger. Although Chinx's funeral was quite a while ago, but you get what I mean. I mean, it's a bit more present than when he was talking about being 12. So that was dope. There's another line on here where he says, "Yo, you ever been surrounded by police and overhear them whispering to plan where to throw a key?" I just thought that was a crazy line too, because think about how often that has happened within history. Like, we do see these dash cam videos or body cam videos where police are actually getting caught doing this shit, but think of all the people who might be doing time just because police wanted to fuck around and do some shit like that, man. It's pretty scary to think about. So, like I said, there's a lot of great content on here. He's getting nostalgic while speaking on some of the things that he saw and went through. I know I said that like 10 times now, but that's the main theme here. And also speaking on who he is today, how those things maybe helped shape him into who he is today. Very cool idea overall. And at least those were some of the things that I picked up on. I mean, you might take some different things from it. I also want to point out the beat on It's All Good has one of my favorite sounds on it because it has these twinkling keys and a very jazzy feel to it. So that was a track I would put as my favorite. And while Rock is consistent on the beats and Skyzoo's flow is sharper than Speedy Cerviche's Ginsu sword, shout out to the Samurai Pizza Cats, there are some really excellent features on this thing too. You got Styles P fitting perfectly on Carry the Tradition. Styles is a guy who seems to be consistent with pretty much everything he does, whether it's his solo work or feature. That continues on this song, which is a love letter to hip hop. And Eastern Conference All-Stars, oh my god damn. This is already, like, this shit just came out, and it is already in the running for one of the best posse cuts of all time. Definitely one of the best ones I've heard in the 2000s, I would say. Of course, in the 90s, we had classic ones like Banned from TV, 24 Hours to Live, you could say, John Blaze. There's just so many of them that I could go over, but this shit is fire, man. So you're gonna get Benny, Conway, Elzai, and Westside Gunn just lumberjack matching the piano production from Pete Rock, and there were plenty of bars on here, so I wanted to point out some of my favorites. From Skyzoo, we have It's Like I'm Illmatic sitting on loop meets Mortal Kombat finishing moves. You've seen what the Genesis do. That was a really dope line because anyone who had Mortal Kombat back in the day, you remember on the Super Nintendo version, it was just like sweat and spit that was coming out. The shit was terrible. When you did fatalities, instead of ripping a heart out like Kano used to do, you would just punch them in the chest. It was whack as hell, whereas the Genesis had all the blood and guts. So that was the version that you wanted. So that was a dope line. Then Benny the Butcher says, "Look, I spend more on baggies than what they spent on the Yola. Off a plate, got rid of weight just like I'm Marcia Ambrosius." Thought that was a dope line, and shout out to Marcia Ambrosius because she did lose a lot of weight. Great singer as well. And Elzai spits, "Pick a line I write that's not as wicked as a sick piranha bite, a brick of China white, lit wick on a stick of dynamite." This track is an all-out bar fest. I could go on and on and on. Westside Gunn is great on here as well because of that unique style and the personality he brings. Really just a dope-ass track, and it will be one of my favorite tracks of the year. I actually might make a list of my favorite tracks of the year, and if I do, I'm pretty sure that one will be in the top 5 because it's dope. But this album right here, this I can see making my top 10 for sure, because I'm going to go with a 4.5 out of 5. I mean, the sound here isn't overly inventive, like it is just that classic traditional hip-hop, but it's done at the highest level so it still works. So if you were looking for something that pushed the boundaries a bit more, got unique or experimental, or had these 808 bangers and shit like that, you're not going to get it. But they are doing this style as best as they can, because these are two guys who really came up in this sound. Skyzoo has always been a spitter. Pete Rock is one of the godfathers of this production style, so that's how it came out so well, man. That's why I think a 4.5 out of 5 is fair, man. This shit is just very authentic and natural. It doesn't get boring. It's not drab like an old pair of saggy titties looking like oranges and socks hanging down. Gross. I don't know what's wrong with me, man. Why am I talking about old saggy titties? But anyway, that's pretty much all I got to say. Although I did want to shout out the song Penny Jerseys, because Skyzoo was on here showing love to the penny jersey. That was something that everybody wanted, that classic Orlando Magic pinstripe Penny Hardaway jersey. Shout out to Penny. And Skyzoo also speaks on how eventually he met him, told him about how special that jersey was. They had lunch and exchanged signatures. So I thought that was pretty cool. Exchanged autographs, I should say. I don't know why I said signatures, but same thing. But you know what I'm saying, man. Dope ass album all around. Hope you like this one. If you don't, let me know why. If you do, let me know why. I always want to hear your guys' opinion. And of course, make sure you do all that good YouTube and social media stuff where you show me love and you show me lots of it. Thank you for watching, everybody. I will see you next time.